Hello guys, Julia here. First of all, Happy New Year. I hope 2015 is the best year of your lives. I know that will be the best for my life. I promised you some tutorials in Lolita clothing last year, but unfortunately I couldn't start before. This tutorial is about these Wristcuffs. Let me show you up close. It's about these Wristcuffs. It uses pretty simple materials. You use some lace. I don't know the name of this lace, so if you know, please comment down below telling me, because I know that I will use so much of this material in my other tutorials. It will be very useful to know the proper name of it. Some ribbon and some elastic for you to fit in all kinds of wrists. So, shall we begin? Unfortunately, I lost the first part of my tutorial, so I will show you now what do you need for doing these Wristcuffs. First of all, this lace. For this lace, you need three. I don't know how to do numbers anymore. 3 pieces with between 40 and 45 centimeters each. I like to do these Wristcuffs with 41 centimeters of lace, 3 pieces of 41 centimeters. Second thing you need is elastic bands. This one is not the thinnest one, but it's almost 1 centimeter this way. I don't know the word. It's like height, width. I don't know. Almost 1 centimeter. I just cut it measuring my wrists, so I pick up my wrists, roll up like it's comfortable for me, and leave it like something like 1 centimeter left to finish the sides of my Wristcuff. If you can see, my measurement was 17 centimeters. So I cut 2 pieces of this elastic. And last but not least, you will need ribbon. I have this one that's half sheer, but you can use the regular ribbon you have home. As you have your 3 pieces of lace cutted, you just need to position 2 of them right sides together and sew all along with straight stitch. Try to go as close as you can of this unfinished edge of the fabric. Next step is finishing those edges. If you have a serger, you can go and finish those edges with your serger. I choose to cut off mine with a scissor and then go with zigzag stitch in my traditional machine. I'm sorry for my head showing on the camera. As those edges are finished, we can now begin to see our Wristcuffs. Open up the seams. We leave the leftover fabric to the upper part of our Wristcuffs. Now, picking up the third part, we already cut off the lace. We will need to cut off all the little points on the rough edge of the fabric. And don't worry about doing sergering or zigzag stitch on this edge, because it will not show on the Wristcuff. It will be hidden inside of the casing we will do for our elastic. Now this step is a little bit tricky to explain, but I hope you can understand. You pick up your third part of lace and position in a way that most of the lace will be towards your hand when you wear the wristcuffs, and a bit of the lace will be shown towards your arm when you wear the wristcuffs. I chose to sew mine following that little circles on the design of the lace, leaving about 0.5 centimeters left for the fabric not to fray. Remember to always position everything right sides together. You need to sew with straight stitch all along the lace. If you don't feel comfortable going right on the machine, pin it down so the fabric won't go out of place when you're sewing. After that straight stitch is done, we now can fold our lace down and start creating our casing for the elastic. Measure your elastic. Mine is around 1 centimeter, so I will do my casing with 1 centimeter. If you don't feel comfortable going right to the machine, pick up your ruler and do markings with 1 centimeter from that last straight stitch you have done before. After doing that straight stitch, we created now our casing for the elastic. Pick up your elastic. Mine is cut in 17 centimeters. Using a safety pin, we can now pin one end of our elastic and go through all the casing. Be careful not to lose the other end of the elastic. When you notice that you're running out of elastic in the another end, you can pick up a regular pin and pin it down. Then go ahead and continuing passing through the casing your elastic. You'll notice that your wrist cuff will finally start to show up. When your elastic is finally out of the casing, remove your safety pin and with a regular pin, pin down the two ends of the elastic. After that, I like to push up a little bit to manage the ruffle, and then I go with straight stitch in the two ends before I close up the whole piece, because I think picking up the elastic and all that fabric at once is really hard. After doing some back and forth with my straight stitch on both ends of the casing and elastics, I'm cutting off the excess fabric and elastic, and we can finally close up our piece. Position both ends right sides together and go with straight stitch, leaving ½ centimeter of seam allowance. That seam allowance we can finish up those edges going to the serger or with your basic zigzag stitch. Be careful not to miss any layers of lace when you sewing. Almost done. After doing your straight stitch and finishing those edges with zigzag or serger, you can turn your piece inside out. If you're happy with the results, you can go and leave your wrist cuffs as they are now. But if you like bows like me, you can pick up your ribbon and do a beautiful bow to put right on the center. For my little bow, I just folded my ribbon 3 parts and cutted out the excess ribbon. Then, pinching up with my fingers, I fold it in the center in 3 times. 1 back, 1 forth, and 1 back again. If you look up close, it's kind of a zigzag form. You go folding one downwards, one upwards, and one downwards again. Holding that folding place with your fingers, you can pick up another piece of the same ribbon and roll up on the center. As my ribbon was a little bit larger for me, I just folded in half, so the part that's not sheer will show on the center of my bow. If you'd like, you could finish it with hand sewing on the back of the bow, but I really like finishing mine with straight stitch back and forth in my machine. After your bow is properly closed, you can cut off the excess ribbon behind it and position on the center of your pretty wrist cuff. I like to double thread my needle and go 3 or 4 times just to hold up the bow pretty straight, and then with the same needle pick up all the thread I left on those stitches and do some knotting. I'm sorry if you can't see properly. Then you stretch out with your little fingers, and that's the final project. To do the other one, repeat all the process and you have a beautiful pair of little wrist cuffs to wear in your next coordinate. So this was the tutorial. Thank you again for watching. If you have some comments, suggestions, please leave on the comments below. If you like this video, please hit the button like. And if you want to see my other videos, please subscribe to my channel. This is the first, but I really hope this year I will do at least one video tutorial every 2 weeks. So thank you for watching again, and see you next time. Ciao!